Cool. Lovely. So I'm live today with Elysia Bus. My name's Donna Marie, Soul Alignment Coach and Creative. And what I really help people to do is just help people stand out above the crowd and really pierce through the noise of the noise in the social media industry and really fully express themselves from soul level through their unique work and really get them paid for what they're best at doing and just being themselves, showing up authentically, really being transparent. And I'm very much all around energy is everything, emotion is everything. So I really concentrate on working with soul practitioners, conscious business owners, and creative entrepreneurs who really are really on a soul journey and helping them to really live the leader that they were born to be. And where every day is exciting, without fear, and just having fun. And it's a really deep process. It really enables you to connect with and establish who you're here to be. So today I have Elysia Bus with me today. She's a life coach for horses, and I love the uniqueness of what she does. And I'm not going to explain what she does. So would you just like to share with the world what you do and what really made you get into what you do and why you do what you do?
Thank you so much, Donna, for having me on your show. I feel like truly honored to get to have this opportunity to be here with you today. And thank you so much for what you do to help make the world a better place. Like, it's just so powerful, like what you offer to people. So,
thank you.
You're very welcome. So I have created a business called Global Equine Affiliates. I'm currently located in Olympia, Washington, state in the United States. And so it's so cool to get to be like, two countries coming together. The beauty of the internet. But that's actually a part of what I do, is trying to connect people on a global level that are trying to make the world a better place. It's just so important, because the work that we do as life coaches and as equine professionals out in the world is just so incredibly powerful. And I feel like a lot of people don't actually know what we do as life coaches and also in the equine field. So at Global Equine Affiliates, I'm working really hard to increase the visibility for the equine therapy profession and just like the power of horses in general. And so I have been reaching out to people and trying to interview people. I'm very much on the front end of this wonderful journey and very excited about it. And I did my first interview just a couple days ago. And so I'm in the process of putting together a YouTube channel called Horsepower Empowerment Through Connection. Thank you. Yeah. So where I will be uploading all of the interviews that I do. So this interview too will get to go on the YouTube channel to promote visibility for what you're doing as well, because I think it's really important. And it's just so great to get to start this journey and be part of each other's lives. And just talking to people and all over the world, because I think it's really important to collaborate and to learn about the different cultural norms in the different countries and honor like what that experience is for people, because it's going to be a little bit different in each place. It has a different spin. I mean, as humans, we all have, our basic needs that need to be met, and, communication and boundaries and, like relationship stuff. Just little things in life that we need to like work through. Childhood wounds, they look a little different wherever you are, but that's the luckiest person in the world that gets to their childhood without something. But in different countries, I like to collaborate and I'm hoping to create online courses with life coaching. It's just like a jumping off point to help people with communication and emotional regulation, but have it in their native language, so that people can have that place-based learning and collaborate with them to try and do the videos on site at their place. Because I think place-based learning is incredibly important, and people feeling honored for what like their culture and all of that so globally. And it's just incredible work for the like therapeutic riding or equine assisted learning or working with mental health counselors or occupational therapists or physical therapists when you're partnering with like for hippotherapy, which is where you partner with speech therapists or occupational therapists or physical therapists to help to rehabilitate the body in some way. Because when people ride horses, this amazing thing happens is because it impacts the vestibular system, so the sense of balance and the way the horse walks and the cadence of its gait. It actually can mimic the way a person walks. So people that have lost the ability to walk can actually help regain that ability faster by working with horses.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just so cool. And people that struggle with speech, have had head injuries, or little kids who are nonverbal, working like through autism, they are on a horse for the first time, and they are oftentimes speak their first words ever because of how the connection with the horse, both physically and as a sentient being, and the energy that they carry. It engages that part of the brain that operates with speech. And so there are lots of really beautiful stories out there about how these parents are with their kids and they get to hear their child speak their first word ever on top of a horse.
Oh, wow. And do you think that the horses are really tuned in and kind of know the power of themselves? Like, how do you think a horse has that intelligence of knowing the power around, their mysticism in a way? I love that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So throughout history in different cultures, you'll see different depictions of horses in a mystical realm. And one of the horses bits of symbolism through different cultures is that they can transcend through different spiritual spheres. So like in Norse mythology, you have Odin's horse, Sleipnir, and with his 8 legs, and how he can travel through different realms. And then it's really cool how you look at all these different things and how they're able to send messages from humans to the spiritual world in these different cultures, and them being one of the only animals that supposedly was crossing over. And the Native Americans, they called the horse a sacred dog because it was like
Yeah.
they were so sweet and they could follow them around like a dog. And so it's like man's best friend, but a horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in regards to them knowing that they're this spiritual being, I don't I don't know that it's even about, I think that they're just in this beautiful space of existence.
Mm.
And they have this remarkable ability to connect with people and teach us so many different things about who we are, and the ability for us to like take that on without a filter. Because like people have a positive or a negative agenda, but typically everyone has some semblance of an agenda, right? And but horses don't really have that agenda. They just want to exist and like eat food and be safe. And in the wild we get to have sex. I mean, like, we don't really do that for our domesticated horses typically, to just let them run about and do that. But I mean, like, some places do at breeding facilities, and I'm sure the horses are super happy about that, because it's like a more natural like experience for them to get to live their full lives. But um it's it allows people to be able to connect with the horses and hear what they have to say without that filter that they would have with a human being as a counselor or a friend or so on and so forth. And it helps them get out of their head as much, because they're engaged, they're out in nature typically, when you're working with horses. And as like many people know, when you get out to nature, you're able to like let go and be more of your authentic self in an easier way, right? You externalize your attention, you're not stuck in your head as much, you're able to ground into the earth. Like, there's so many natural elements to that, and why we have experiential learning, which works much better than being in a classroom. And I'm also a teacher, so my master's degree is in education, and my postgraduate degree is in equine assisted learning. So that's part of my journey and with horses. And in regards to your other question about how did I get into all of it? Well, my grandfather bought me 2 white ponies for my 5th birthday. And I will never forget that day for as long as I live. I was just like the luckiest girl in the world. And when I was an infant, my mother she was a city girl. She didn't know anything about horses, but there were horses close to where we lived, and she'd go for walks and she'd take me up to these horses. And um, the horse would walk up to me and my mom, and it would like blow in my face and sniff me and like lick my face and my hands. And I was just like hooked from like infancy, like it's in my blood. And then I struggled a lot when I was young, as a teenager, with depression and anxiety and like all sorts of different things, and not really feeling seen and heard. And the horses were always like a safe place for me. And I struggled a lot with emotional regulation. And I've spent my whole life, like every day since I was 13 years old, working on myself, like making myself a better person, the best aspect that I could, like really like looking at the mistakes that I made through life and logically like working through them, be like, how can I change my actions and my thoughts, and how I like engage with people in the world to be more functional and authentic. And um, I didn't really have a mentor to help me through that experience. And I would have been able to get through so much more quickly if I had had somebody to be my life coach. It would have made a huge difference in my life. And so I'm also a medical massage therapist for people and horses and dogs. And I really just love to help people. Like that's my journey on this planet. Like I'm here to help make the world a better place. And if I can help serve others and help them transcend the spaces that they're in and teach them how to be able to like have emotional regulation and learn that you don't have to be at effect of your emotions. And there's so much like fear and going on in the world right now with everything with COVID. And I just decided that it was time for me to kind of step into the light and be like, okay, like let's do this, guys. Like let's on a global level, let's change the world and help everybody that we can. And there's no reason to not just step up on a bigger scale.
Oh, I love that. Do you have horses at the moment that you're working with, like your own horses or clients' horses that you're working with?
I do. I technically own 3 horses. I say technically because one of my mares, I have a Frisian quarter horse cross that's 18 now. She's up in New York, helping out just north of Saratoga Springs. It's a place called Step. It's an amazing facility where they provide therapeutic riding and hippotherapy and equine assisted learning. And I miss her tremendously, but she's doing incredible work up there with people with special needs. And she's like the star of the show up there, which is not surprising because she was for me here in Olympia when I used her. And she's just a really solid mare. She's sweet as pie. And then I have a 5-year-old Morgan filly here named Liberty. And then I have a Missouri Foxtrotter named Charm. She's ever so charming. And Missouri Foxtrotters are gaited horses. And I bought her because I've had 2 low back surgeries. I was actually in a wheelchair for 4 months 5 years ago. And so that's been a journey for me. And I did a lot of groundwork with my horses and focusing on connection because I wasn't supposed to be riding. I'm still not supposed to be riding, but whatever. What those doctors now, huh? Like you got to do what meets your soul, but like in a safe and like reasonable fashion. But like honoring that when you do things like that, like every day when I engage with my horses after that injury, it's like a practice in working through fear. It's like, yeah.
I love that. So you basically like you being with your horse is like a form of therapy.
Absolutely. They're my own therapy as well as therapy for other people.
Well, yeah, like I think animals in general. I mean, I have a cat. I don't have anything as big as a horse. But I mean, with horses in general, they're very calming. They're very mystical. They really wouldn't want to hurt you unless you threaten them. You know, I think very much they're perceived as animals that can harm, and actually they're probably not meant to, they don't have that. It's just protection of self, right? And they probably have the same fears that we do, and it's building up that trust with them.
Yeah, building trust is really important, and learning how to read their nonverbal communication. And I mean, they're prey animals and we're predators. And so, like, learning how to regulate your emotions so that they feel safe, and how to engage with them in a manner that doesn't seem predatory is important. And what's interesting, as us being predators and them being prey, is that our social structures as two different species are actually incredibly similar. And so it makes it easy for people to work through metaphor, to be able to do the work that we do for the life coaching and mental health and equine assisted learning. And yeah, horses, they're just they're really sweet. Like, they're not interested in hurting you unless you're threatening them in some way. Yeah, it's like if a horse runs you over, it's probably because you boxed them in somewhere and they got spooked by something, and there was no other way for them to get away from what scared them other than go over you. Like, and that's probably your fault for like being dumb about where you put your body.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I was going to ask you about, who do you prefer working with? Is it the human being, or is it the horse?
It really depends on the day and the person and the horse, to be completely frank. Where am I at today? Where are they at today? What's the weather like outside? No, I mean, it's a really beautiful thing to get to work with people and the horses, and honoring the horses' energetic space. Because working with people that have experienced trauma, there's a certain type of energy that goes with that, and the kind of work that we have to do. As practitioners, we have to be in a really good grounded space. And when we work with people that are really struggling, right?
Yeah.
And so with horses, you want to make sure that they're not going to have an energetic burnout as well. You really need to honor what they need as well. And sometimes you work with horses, and especially when you're working with a high volume of people, you really have to pay attention to when the horses need a day off. That's why it's better to have a larger herd to work with, because one day you might show up and you notice your horse is just like not really wanting to engage with people, and it's like a lethargic and whatnot. And you're just like, all right, buddy, like, I get it. Like, you're not in a space to work with people today. You need a timeout to go like be a horse and not have to take on other people's energy right now. And you honor that, because they're sentient beings and we're responsible for their well-being as their caretakers. And just like we're responsible for ourselves, and to be able to do self-care to honor where we're at and not try and be overwhelmed.
That's so incredibly powerful. Has there been a particular case or a person that's come to you with a particular problem and you've seen a big result in the work that you've done with them? Does anything stand out in particular that you want to share?
Yeah, there was a young lady that came to see me one time, and she struggled incredibly with a history of depression and anxiety. And just to the point that she didn't really even want to leave her home. And she'd done a bunch of different work with counselors previously. And she had just kind of given up on ever feeling better. And she was so stuck in that headspace that she didn't really even, I think, know herself very well. And then she came to the barn and she completely fell in love with liberty. And it's really beautiful. The story is actually on my website for that particular individual, because it was just so powerful, and how she found herself, and she learned how to work through her depression. And it was just really beautiful to watch her transform and become more secure and find herself.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. And I mean, it's a process. These things take time. I mean, it really depends on what you're dealing with, but just like any modality, like healing modality, you don't get to just like snap your fingers and be done with whatever it is that you're struggling with. If it's tight muscles, or if it's recovering from an injury or a trauma mentally, I mean, it takes time to build up the struggles inside of ourselves. It takes time to unravel them. And, you know, sometimes we get to like a light bulb goes off, right? We have this giant aha moment and like all this like energetic charge leaves us and we're like, sweet. And you take a nice out breath and you're like, okay, like what's in the next level?
Yeah.
you don't want to overwhelm people either, right? Because you come to a session and you have like 1, 2, 3 like aha moments, like amazing. Just take the time and go deeper with things. Like you don't want to overwhelm people like being built on, oh, like, okay, yeah, like let's go to the next thing. It's like, no, like let's sit with it for a minute, you know, and really honor the process and what that experience was like for you, and, you know, meditate on it for a little bit. And sometimes you end a session early because somebody has a really powerful moment and you're like, perfect, let's leave that right there. Like, let's have that win and go have a great day.
Amazing. Do you notice the change in the horses as well when they're working with human? Do you notice their energy change? I'm really fascinated about energy transfer.
Yeah, it's really interesting to watch. So like sometimes say a person comes in and they're like all amped up, and it can even be like, hey, I'm amped up because I drove to the barn and some jerk just like cut me off in traffic. See, like my parents' dog is out there and she's like, energy talking about it, I'm gonna bark. So no, like somebody comes in and they're all wrought about something. And so then they try and connect with the horse, and the horse is just like, yeah, not so much. And you're trying to lunge them and go in a circle or do some sort of activity, and the horse is just like super high energy, and the person's like super, you know. And then I'll do, for instance, like a grounding exercise for the person. And but before we do the grounding exercise, the person will be like, oh, why won't the horse connect with me? Does it not like me? I just nobody likes me, you know, some sort of like tape like that they're running. And then they do a grounding exercise, and all of a sudden the horse is like chill, like just like walking along, and then it'll stop and it'll like start eating some grass, and its ears will flick around, and it's just like listening to us talking, you know, and becomes more engaged. And it's pretty impressive how that all, yeah.
Love anything like that with energetic transfer of human beings to animals, human beings. It's so incredible because we can't see it, but we can certainly feel it, and we can certainly see the transition.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we have this energetic field that's around us, right? An electromagnetic field that our body gives off. And then horses have one as well, of course. And their hearts are, excuse me, their hearts are much larger than ours, as are their bodies in general. I mean, unless you're dealing with like a miniature pony, and then, you know. But so the horse's heart is larger than ours. And so their electromagnetic field is larger than us and can encompass it, our like ours. So just by a person being near a horse, it can actually like calm us down by their energetic field being stronger than ours, and us like coming into congruence. And so just being with them is like regulating. And then we get those chemical responses in our brain that are like, oh, good feelings. And just the body relaxes more. And so people, you say like, oh, they're addicted to horses. Like, no, they actually are. They're getting like a chemical release in their brain that is like, that's what I need in my life. And so I'm going to go find more horses.
Like being in the farm with horses and just sit there and just like sucking it all up.
Yeah, no, like honestly, that's like a real thing.
Oh wow, amazing. I need to find some horses now.
Yes, absolutely. You need to find horses in your area to engage with.
Well, I was actually going to ask you if you had any fun facts, real interesting fun facts about horses, but you told me that one. Is there anything else that people should know about horses that we don't know about?
Fun facts about horses. Oh my goodness. So at the bottom of a horse's foot, there's like this little thing. It looks kind of like a heart. They call it a frog.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know why they call it a frog. It doesn't rivet. I mean, like, come on, guys. But
So weird.
it's and horses during the dinosaur age had they had toes. Horses
So
existed
weird.
during the dinosaur age, and they had toes, and they like stood up on like their little toes. And there's a
Oh,
piece that's on the back of a horse's leg, like by its fetlock. And for some horses, it's bigger than others, and it's like a piece. It's not bone. It's like, and then they have these little spots that are called chestnuts that are on the
yeah.
inside of their legs. It's that same sort of material. And my brain is like, what's that called again? But it's like a residual spot from the dinosaur age of like when they were up higher and they had that extra toe.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
so there's like
Crazy.
a random fact. I'm like, what other random facts do I have? Like,
They have do they have like acupoints and acupressure points and stuff like human beings?
yes, they definitely have different acupressure points like human beings do. I've actually had my horses receive acupuncture before,
Wow.
which
Yeah.
is really fascinating to watch because like there was this one time, so the needles are like this long that they stick in the
Yeah.
horse, and I remember this guy putting the needles in my horse's back, and it was straight up, and it just goes ding, like just like
Ooh.
straight like backwards because like it's some sort of like energy release and spasm, something that was happening in my horse's back. I was just like, oh, that's crazy.
Wow.
And yeah, so horses receive acupuncture. I've had my horses get chiropractic before, which is
Yeah.
really fascinating to watch. And yeah, it's really loud. And at first, like they oftentimes are like, "Whoa, like that was really intense." But then they're just like, "Oh, that's so relaxing." And when horses are like relaxing and processing, they lick and they chew. So they're like,
Oh, wow. They're just like,
and they'll
yeah.
yawn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and sometimes when a horse senses that a person is super stressed out, the horse will start yawning to try and create a response in the human to get them to relax.
Oh my God, that's so incredible.
Yeah. So my filly, Liberty, she does it more than any person, than like any horse I've ever seen. Like sometimes I'll show up to the barn if I'm stressed out. She just starts yawning like 10 times. I'm just like, what is wrong with you? And my buddy, the barn manager, they'd be like, no, remember, like she's trying to help you calm down. I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, wow. Did I remember that? That's so
Yeah.
powerful. Oh my God. So where can people find your work? Obviously, I've linked to your website, but how can people reach out to you and connect with you? And yeah, just let people know how they can find you.
Thank you. Yes. So people can find me on Facebook at Global Equine Affiliates and message me there. There's a link to my website there as well that has my phone number, and you can feel free to call and text anytime. I turn my phone off at night, so it doesn't matter where you're in the world, you will not wake me up. Turn my phone off. Disconnect and don't turn it back on for like an hour in the morning because morning routines are important. So yeah, I hear that if you turn your phone off for at least like and don't touch it for the first 30 minutes of the day, it's way better for your being because if you turn your phone on right away, you're at effect of all the things, like you're reacting to things and
Yeah.
you're setting up your whole day to be more in that reactive mode. But if you turn it off for the first 30 minutes of the day, then you set your brain up to be more in like a positive like outflow, especially if you wake up in the morning, you start journaling or you exercise. It just puts your brain, like sets it up better for success.
I love that.
Random tip for the day.
Important, yeah. You don't want to just go straight on social media and just like, because it's, your brain needs that stillness point to start from for a new, fresh approach, right? For your
Yeah,
day. So I
because you're
think,
still in that meta space.
yeah,
Huh?
I think it's good to remind people to do that. I remember at one point I was turning my phone off. I used to turn it off on Sundays. It was like my day to turn it off. But
Nice.
I should start going back to it really because it's like surrender Sunday, right? Just nothing, just
Yeah.
zero social. So yeah, good reminder. Thank you very much. And is there anything else you would like to share about what you do? Anything, any common questions that people ask you about the work that you do that you just want to share?
Sure. Yeah. So a common question would be, do I need to be struggling with anything specifically in order to get life coaching? And the answer is absolutely not. All of us have the opportunity to optimize our lives. So if we feel like everything is like great, it's still good to check in with a life coach and think about what your goals are and what you're doing to, optimize that experience, so that you can reach your goals faster. I mean, even as life coaches, like life life coaches still get life coaching, you know.
Yeah.
It's really important for us to continually evolve and honor that process. And I think it's really important to live by example. So even like your top end coaches that are making like crazy amounts of money and they've been in the game for a super long time. From what I hear, even those ladies and gentlemen are still getting life coaching.
Absolutely. It's so
None none of us are above like getting help and processing.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't do it all on our own, can we? You know, we need, whether it's a horse, whether it's a mentor, whether it's someone that's guiding us through to help us, and we don't have to do it all on our own. It's really important to remember that. And like you say,
absolutely,
issue to have coaching but actually most people have deeper layers of things that they don't even realize that's holding them back, you know. So
100%.
Very powerful work of what coaching can offer. So
yeah, absolutely. That is so incredibly true. And not like I offer life coaching virtually with and without the horses. So if people don't want to engage with the horses, that's fine. There are also people out there that are afraid of horses. And I really want to honor that process. And when people come out that are afraid of horses, sometimes we can be like 100 feet from a fence line and you can still have a positive experience engaging with the horse. Like it's really about meeting people where they're at. Like it's not about me. Like I don't have any ego attached to it. Like I really want to honor people where they're at, their process, like working at the proper gradient, which means just like if we need to start at a low level and slowly move up as we address your goals, like that's really important. You have other people that are like, no, I want to go straight to the top. And I'm like, okay, I hear that. Let's start here and see like how many layers we get to unravel in that process. And people get what they put into the process. It's like part of coaching is about people having it inside of, like, you have the answers inside of yourselves. And as coaches, we're guides to help you find the keys to the doors inside of yourself for that process. But like people have to be ready to do the work. And sometimes they think that they're ready, but they're not ready, or you'll do it in different spaces. Because when I work with people, if they're just going to challenge everything, right? It's like, you're not ready. Come back to me when you're ready. Like, I'm totally down to be there for you and hear you and support you. But, or maybe like, because people, this is the beautiful thing about having so many different providers around the world that offer different models with horses, different models with coaching. Like, people have their own life story. And there's this multiple intelligence theory. So it talks about like, you have kinesthetic learners, you have visual learners, you have auditory learners, interpersonal learners, naturalistic learners, like there's mathematical learners, like you have all these different styles of learning, like intelligences and how you process information. None of them are wrong. They're just a different way that you process information. And people typically have like two top intelligences that they operate out of. And then you have, of course, like the 5 different love languages. And then you have different attachment theories of like how people are like securely attached or disassociatively attached or fearfully attached or buoyantly attached. Like there's all these different pieces as to like how people process their engagements with one another. And a lot of people actually believe in the same thing, but they have different intelligences, the way they process information. And so you have 2 people like fighting when they actually agree because their communication doesn't align because they process information differently. Like how silly is that? Like if you just get to educate yourself on like how you operate and how your partner operates or your friend or your kids or whatever, then all of a sudden it's like, wow, like my communication and relationships are a million times better because I learned this one little tiny thing. And the same thing goes with coaches, right? Because you can be an amazing coach, but if the way you operate, like your different intelligences doesn't match up with another person and they're not ready to do that work, or maybe they are ready to do the work, but your personalities don't match, the way you process information doesn't match, that doesn't mean that either one of you is a bad person. It just means that you get to direct them to somebody else that might meet them better. And that's about like honoring the person as a whole being and having that abundance mindset and wanting to support the community of providers that can help to like heal the world. Because too often I've heard about people in different fields that they just get super possessive about like their clients. And I'm just like, you don't own people. Like you're there to facilitate the healing of other people, not to keep them in there for as long as you can to make money because you're afraid to lose. I'm like, I'm sorry. You need some more life coaching too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If they're never evolving, then what are you doing, sort of thing?
Right.
It's got to be this ever evolving process. And I'm not one for giving someone coaching for a whole year because, like, unless they come back to me and have gaps and things, and they might even want to come back, but defending that is not healthy because it means that you're not actually empowering them. To have that constant attachment in a way, and you've got to be really careful of that as a coach because it's quite easy for people to get attached as a client as well. So it comes from both perspectives, I think.
Absolutely.
Being aware of that is really, really important on what we're actually doing and where we're leading people towards. And are we leading them or are they leading themselves? There's quite a different perspective on how we are as a coach, and everyone works differently. But
yeah, absolutely. Like, I've been so lucky. I've been part of Joel Brown's Addicted to Success group just recently, and I've met so many incredible people. And like, I got to do work with Stephanie Z. They're both Australians. I love Australians. There's something about Australians. I just absolutely love them. They're like my soul people. I need to move there someday, I think, or something. But yeah, that's what I think I'm supposed to be. But Stephanie Z is like amazing. And Joel brought on Tace Gibson, and she talked about the attachment theories in this way. And she's like a relationship life coach. And oh my gosh, just like incredible people. And I'm just like, I love you guys all so much. Like talking about like how you like get connected to your coaches. I was like, I want them to be my friends, my best friends. I love them. They're just like so awesome and funny and like so deep and all these things. And Joel, they have a free like online summit this weekend for Addicted to Success for relationship stuff. So like if anybody sees this and they want to check that out, like the stuff that they have is serious gold. Like, and the fact that people can have it for free is just like mind blowing. Stephanie has a masterclass today at like 2:00 my time. There's so many times. These people are from like all over the world. I'm like, I don't even know. I'm in the USA. I'm Pacific Standard Time. It's 2:00. Like Stephanie ZEE. Like look it up. There's so many cool people, and I'm like, I love it. And then I'll get to like see all the stuff, and Donna, like, please let me know when you're doing stuff so that I can like hit people up and be like, so Donna's doing this super cool like masterclass or live thing. You should like absolutely look at it because she's like rocking it and it's awesome. And because I just love to promote people. Like, it doesn't even have to involve horses. Like, are you doing an amazing job in this world, like helping other people? Tell me, let me know. I want to like shout it out to the universe so that people can know what's up and how you're facilitating the healing process. And because there's so many different aspects that people need help with. Like, I love the embodiment work that you're doing and just like the different groups that you're creating and empowering people all over the place. Like, it's just phenomenal. And I so appreciate you for that. And like your journey has been like so amazing and how you're just like morphed all of it to serve other people.
Absolutely. I'm all about bringing people together, you know, and helping people to really just show up in the world and be of service, because if I'm not doing that, then I'm not serving myself. So it's what I'm here to do. I'm here to bring people together, to build the community, you know, really. That's why I just love working with people that really stand out. And because the people that stand out are here to actually help people on such a deep level, you know, and people do need that encouragement or a bit of a kick, you know. Come on,
Yeah, it's true.
let's bring you up. Come on, you can do this, you know, and the world needs that. So that's my mission on this existence of bringing people together, you know, so people can get themselves out there and just be who they are and help people on such a deep level. So
Yeah.
important.
Absolutely. And I just love that. And that's one of the reasons why, like, anything I can do to also help support you in your journey and your business, like, I'm all for. And it's, I so appreciate the opportunity and honor to get to be here today with you.
Fabulous. Thank you. Well, and like I say, if anyone is an expert in what they do and they would like to do an expert interview as well, then please just let me know and we can get you on. I want to do these weekly. And if you haven't joined my group yet already, then the link is just in the banner on my page. You can join my group. And yeah, is there anything else that you'd like to sort of say before you go with the viewers? To you, to them, anything, any final words?
Any final words?
Yeah.
Any final words? Well, ladies and gentlemen, you all have the power inside of you to grow and live your best life and live your dreams. And do not settle because you don't need to. There are lots of people out there that are willing and able to help, and you just got to look and take a deep breath. And sometimes you just have to start with breathing when you're struggling. Just focus on breathing, and that's the first step to being able to control your emotions and be able to, like, make those clear decisions to help yourself, like, lift yourself out of the muck. And it's there are lots of difficult times out there, but if you can just find one person to be there, then they'll, life coach or friends, like a stranger on the street, a person to smile at you and see you like an authentic manner, like anybody can be that person for you. So just try to be open.
Thank you so much for your presence today, your energy today, and sharing your vision, your mission, your amazing work with the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my friends. I appreciate you.